Hi everyone, we're looking at context clues. Context clues. So let's read and see what meanings these things can make to us. Context clues are hints found within a sentence, paragraph, or passage that the reader can use to understand the meaning of new or unfamiliar words. So what it simply means is that when you're reading a passage, there will be clues there. There will be things said in the passage, or there are times when you are likely to find such things. When you have them available and you're able to read meanings into them, it's to your advantage. So we're looking at all that. When we're reading passages, you cannot have a dictionary by your side always, and you cannot memorize every word in this world. So you need knowledge of context clues to be able to maneuver your way around in this area. Learning the meaning of a word through its use in a sentence or paragraph is the most practical way to build vocabulary, since a dictionary is not always available when a reader encounters an unknown word. A reader must be aware that many words have several possible meanings. Right, when you pick a word may have, even the word right. Right may have about five meanings attached to it. There'll be a chain of meanings that has been attached to a particular word. So you cannot go memorizing everything, but you need the knowledge of context clues to maneuver your way around, okay? Only by being sensitive to the circumstances in which a word is used can the reader decide upon an appropriate definition to fit the context. Okay, so you must be sensitive to the circumstances in which the word is used. How has the word been used? You should be able to find out how the word has been used so that you're able to tell the meaning of a word. Now, even we are discouraging people from just picking a word and trying to define what it means, but rather we're looking at words in the context. In what sentence? How has the writer or the speaker used the word so that you're able to tell the meaning of the words based on that. A reader should rely on context clues when an obvious clue to meaning is provided, or when only a general sense of the meaning is needed for the reader's purpose. Context clues should not be relied upon when a precise meaning is required. When clues suggest several possible definitions, when nearby words are unfamiliar, and when the unknown word is a common one that will be needed again. In these cases, a dictionary should be consulted. Right, there are cases or there are times when you cannot rely on context clues, and that is what has just been stated out here for you. So you should take out this aspect as in the fourth paragraph. Over here in the fourth paragraph, we've been told about when you might not possibly use context clues to your advantage. I'll leave it out for you to read for a few minutes, a minute or so. I think will be good for that. There are several different types of context clues. Some of them are, so there are a lot of clues that you need to look out for to understand words. And some of them are the following: one, definition or description clue. Definition or description clue. The new term may be formally defined or sufficient explanation may be given within the sentence or in the following sentence. Clues to definition include that is. You may find the person writing that is or saying that is, or there will be a comma and then a new word will be brought there. So after the word has been used, a comma will come and then the word will be explained, or there will be a dash and then the word is explained, or you may find the meaning of the word in parentheses. Okay, so that is one of the ways people try to enable you find the meaning of the word. So we're looking at examples of this in the sentences we have here. Examples: A. His emaciation, that is his skeleton-like appearance, was frightening to see. His emaciation, that is his skeleton-like appearance, was frightening to see. Can you get a clue here? you can see that that is has been used here. So we can clearly see that skeleton-like appearance, the definition of emaciation. You get a point. Just because we have that is written there, we know it is going to explain what has been said earlier. So we understand that emaciation is a skeleton-like appearance. Then let's look at a B. Fluoroscopy, examination with a fluoroscope, has become a common practice. Fluoroscopy, examination with a fluoroscope, has become a common practice. You can see that when fluoroscopy was brought, there's a comma, and then you have an apostrophe, something brought which will help you to tell the meaning of fluoroscopy. And that way, we are able to tell what fluoroscopy is. So there are times when you must look out for these sort of clues. The comments before and after examination with a fluoroscope point out the definition of fluoroscopy. Okay, so that also reveals something for us. C. The dudin, a short-stem clay pipe, is found in Irish folk tales. The dudin, a short-stem clay pipe, is found in Irish folk tales. Right, so we can see the dash there, and then the meaning of dudin has been brought. That is one of the ways you can tell the meaning of a word. We're saying that it's not always that you're going to have it coming, but if you have it too, please take advantage of it. The dashes setting of a short stem clay pipe point out the definition of duding, and that is so clear and good for us. Okay, we're taking the next one, example clues. There are times when you find examples of the things stated there. So based on examples, you can then tell that, okay, fine, if this word is mentioned, and examples of the things that fall in that category have been brought. Then we can, based on the examples, if you're familiar with them, tell the meaning of the word. So we're taking the reading. I'm going to read from example clues. Sometimes when a reader finds a new word, an example might be found nearby that helps to explain its meaning. Words like including, such as, and for example, point out example clues. So you're going to find words like including, such as, and for example. Those are words that you should take note of in example clues. Okay? So words like including, such as, for example, they point out example clues. Let's take note of them. That's why I've highlighted them for you. Okay, we're going on. Let's look at an example of that. Piscatorial creatures such as flounder, salmon, and trout live in the coldest part of the ocean. Piscatorial creatures such as flounder, salmon, and trout live in the coldest part of the ocean. We can see piscatorial creatures obviously refers to fish. Can you see that? Even though the word was so big and we might not know the meaning, the examples brought there tell us what piscatorial signifies, and it's so clear to us. Celestial bodies, including the sun, moon, and stars, have fascinated man through their centuries. Celestial bodies, including the sun, moon, and stars, have fascinated man through the centuries. So you have the expression including the sun. So the word including has really helped us to be able to tell what we are supposed to do here. So celestial, I'm reading the meaning of the celestial bodies down there. So celestial bodies are those in the sky, so or heaven. Okay, those in the sky or heaven. Those are celestial bodies. So that is so clear to us. We're looking at a sea. In the course of man's evolution, certain organs have atrophied. In the course of man's evolution, certain organs have atrophied. The appendix, for example, has wasted away from disuse. The appendix, for example, has wasted away from disuse. So, looking at these word atrophied, the way it has been used here has made us to be able to tell the meaning. So we have example. For example, we're looking at atrophy, which means wasted away. So in the course of man's evolution, certain organs have atrophied. The appendix, for example, you see that the code message here is for example. You can see for example here. So we're looking at for example, which tells us that this is what the person is really emphasizing on. So having seen for example, we can tell what the person is trying to say. Okay. All right, we're looking at another clue, which is synonym restatement clue. Synonym restatement clue. So sometimes you're going to find a synonym in the sentence, which will help you to know what the word that has been stated means. The reader may discover the meaning of a word, of an unknown word, because it repeats an idea expressed in familiar words nearby. The reader may discover the meaning of an unknown word because it repeats an idea expressed in familiar words nearby. Synonyms are words with the same meaning or similar meaning. Okay, so you find that the word has been used, but a word has been used which is telling you more about that word. That's basically what synonym clues are. So we're looking at an example of that. Flooded with spotlight, the focus of all attention, the new Miss America began her year-long reign. She was a cynosure of all eyes for the rest of the evening. Flooded with the spotlight, the focus of all attention, the new Miss American began her year-long reign. She was the cynosure of all eyes for the rest of the evening. Now, the cynosure or the cynosure, the word there, what can we tell about it? Cynosure means the focus of all attention. You get the point? Okay, so the way the word cynosure has been used, based on the context of the use of the word, we can tell that it means, focus of all attention. Look at the whole thing. It said, flooded with the spotlight, the focus of all attention. Here we have the focus of all attention, flooded with the spotlight. So the spotlight is all on her. Can you see that? So that way, then it came to she was the cynosure of all eyes for the rest of the evening. When the person is flooded with a spotlight, the spotlight is all on her. You know, the person is going to be what? The focus of attention. So she was the cynosure of all eyes. Okay? So all eyes have gone on the focus of all attention. So the meaning of the word cynosure is out there, but you need to work it out. Without working it out, you're not going to tell the meaning. You need to work it out to know what it means. Alright? Some of the things we need to know. Looking at another example, the B. The mountain pass was a tortuous road, winding and twisting like a snake around the trees of the mountainside. The mountain pass was a tortuous road, winding and twisting like a snake around the trees of the mountainside. Now, you can see that here too we have example clues. We have what's the name of winding and twisting like a snake. It's telling us more about tortuous, so we can really clearly tell the meaning of that. So that we have the tortuous meaning winding and twisting. So we are clear with that. Let's look also at contrast or antonym clue. There will be times when you're going to have an antonym or a contrasting word used there where you can tell the meaning of a word from. Antonyms are words with opposite meaning. An antonym, an opposite meaning context clues contrast the meaning of unfamiliar words with the meaning of a familiar word. I'll take it again. Antonyms are words with opposite meanings. An antonym, sorry, I have to take all this again. Sorry about that, everybody. Antonyms are words with opposite meanings. An opposite meaning context clues contrast the meaning of an unfamiliar word with the meaning of a familiar word. Okay, so they contrast, they are opposite. Okay, so the meaning of a familiar word with an unfamiliar word. Words like although. So you're going to find words like although is going to signify something to you. A word like however will signify something to you. And a word like but. All these things are words with signal contrasts. Okay, they signal what? Contrast. So you should be wary of them. They are words that signal contrast. So take care of them. Now let's look at an example. When the light brightens, the pupils of the eyes contract. However, when it grows darker, they dilate. When the light brightens, the pupils of the eye contract. However, when it grows darker, they dilate. So now you're asking yourself, if they say the pupils of the eye contract, so pupils contract here, and they're saying that when it grows darker, they dilate. Okay, so contract, you know the meaning of contract, and then they comparing contract to dilate. So basically, you should know that dilate is going to mean, what's the name of becoming loose. Okay, loose is what is talk about here, as in loose. You get the point. Good. Right. Let's look at the B. The children were as different as day and night. He was a lively conversationalist, but she was reserved and taciturn. The children were as different as day and night. He was a lively conversationalist, but she was reserved and taciturn. So we have lively conversationalist, somebody who likes taking part in conversation, and then somebody is taciturn, so it's reserved. You can see that the meaning is clearly that it's reserved. Okay, so these things do exist in our passages, and then we have to pay attention to them. You must draw our attention onto them to be able to tell the meaning of words. So taciturn means the opposite of a lively conversationalist. All right, good. We're going on. Let's look at the aspect of mood or tone clues. So when you have a mood or tone clue, the mood of the person or the tone of the person will also tell you a clue about the word. Okay, the author set a mood, and the meaning of the unknown word must harmonize with the mood. Okay, so the author sets a mood, and the meaning of the unknown word must harmonize with the mood. So when somebody is sad, the person is going to be using words of sadness. Somebody is excited, you see the mood of the person's excitement, so there will be very beautiful words showing up. The person is angry, you expect to hear anger words. Okay, so if the person is also serious, you expect to hear words that show seriousness. All these are mood. Okay, so the tone will reveal. The tone is the way the person is going to speak. So the choice of words in writing, the choice of words of the person is the tone. They reveal the feeling the person has at the point that the person is talking. Okay, so we're looking at the examples we have here. We have the A. The lugubrious wails of the gypsies match the dreary whistling of the wind in the all-blue deserted cemetery. The lugubrious wails of the gypsies match the dreary whistling of the wind in the all but deserted cemetery. So let's look at what lugubrious means based on the clue we have here, the mood of the person. Lugubrious, which means sorrowful. You see, they're talking about the wails of the gypsies at the cemetery. The wails of the gypsies at the cemetery. So wail is telling us the people are crying. So if they are crying, we should know it's going to be about sorrow. And also, so let's take it all together. Lugubrious, which means sorrowful, fit the mood by the words wails of the gypsies at the cemetery. So the meaning is clear. Based on the mood of the person, we expect to hear a word that shows sorrow based on the mood of the person. Okay. We're looking at our experience clue. Experience clue. Sometimes based on an experience you've ever had, you are able to tell clearly what something might mean. Sometimes a reader knows from experience how people or things act in a given situation. Okay, so as a person, you know that if somebody has just won a lottery, the person is going to be excited and is going to be acting so happily, and you know about that. If somebody hears something that is quite annoying, you know the way the person is going to react because you've ever been in that situation. If somebody hears something that is really boring or is experiencing something that's really boring, the person's reactions are also going to be aligned with that. Okay, so as a human being having experienced these things, you should empathize. You should put yourself in the shoes of the story you read, in the way the description has been done to tell what it means based on their experience clue. Okay, so let's read what it means. We have an example here. During those first bewildering weeks, the thought of a college freshman drift back to high school where he was in, knew everyone, and felt at home, A feeling of nostalgia sweeps over him. I'll take it again. During those first bewildering weeks, the thought of a college freshman drifted back to high school where he was in, where he knew everyone and felt at home. A feeling of nostalgia sweeps over him. You see, now you're looking at this to tell the meaning of nostalgia. He said during those first bewildering weeks, so the weeks were bewildering. And then look at the whole thing. They went on by saying the thoughts of a college freshman drift back to high school where he was in and knew everybody. So he was in high school and knew everyone. But then he's in a second, a freshman in college, and then the weeks are bewildering, confusing. Let's assume we know the word bewildering, which means confusing, okay? Or times when he's trying to acclimatize, he's trying to now adapt or adjust to the system. All right, now it goes on. A feeling of nostalgia sweeps over him. A feeling of nostalgia sweeps over him. So we can clearly, because we have ever experienced a change in a situation, we can tell that nostalgia is a time when you feel homesick. You wish you were in a former situation. Okay, the memories of the old situation comes alive in you, and you really want to experience it again. Let's take the B. She walked away from her closet and quickly slipped a jersey over her head. She smoothed it into place over her hips, added a belt, glanced at the mirror, and left for work. She walked away from her closet and quickly slipped a jersey over her head. She smoothed it into place over her hips, added a belt, glanced at the mirror, and left for work. Here we can clearly see the person is in a hurry. Can you see that? So here we know the person is basically in a hurry. Alright. Now let's go on to look at another aspect of it again. Here we're looking at analysis or structure clue. Analysis or structure clue. The parts used to construct a word can be direct clues to meaning. Okay, the parts used to construct a word can be direct clues to meaning. Knowledge of prefixes, roots, and suffixes can aid a reader in using this type of context clues. Learning some word parts can add dozens of words to a reader's vocabulary. The power of word parts lies in their ability to combine the root and affixes with the context in which a word is used to discover the author's meaning. What is basically stated here is that if we know about words and their prefixes, okay, we know prefixes like an, nan, able, okay, able, we know ab and app, okay, and a whole lot of them, and we know suffixes like ly, usually is ly that's added, and also able also sometimes come as a suffix, and shin also come as a suffix. What I mean is that you're going to have a word form from those things. Okay, in the examples I'll explain them better to those of us who don't know much about prefix and suffix. Okay, so those prefix and suffix can make us try to find out the meaning of words. And if you know more about the roots of words, sometimes you need to dig deeper into the root of words to be able to understand what the words actually mean. Alright, so the example here, the story is incredible. We have incredible. We know credible means believable. So in, which is a negative prefix that added there, not credible. In means not. So with the in, we know it is what? Not believable. The root, cred means to believe. Okay, cred means to believe. And the prefix in means not. You get a point here. So they've broken everything down. Therefore, if a story is incredible, it is unbelievable. Can you see that? So sometimes you need to be working around the words, working around the things to be able to understand what is being said. The somnambulist had to be locked in his bedroom at night for his own safety. The somnambulist had to be locked down in his bedroom at night for his own safety. You get a point. They say he had to be locked down in his room for his own safety at night. So If a reader knows the meaning of ambular, that is to walk. So if you know the word root ambular, to walk, and also sum, which is sleep, and sees the sentence, the reader may realize that a somnambulist is a sleepwalker, somebody who is asleep but have the defect in the mind which makes the person to, even though sleeping, walk about, move about, and may do things that might not be normal because his brain is not at work at such a time. His full brain is not at work, he's partly at work. Okay, so that's a somnambulist. Okay, so based on that, we can tell what a somnambulist actually means. We're looking also at an inference clue. Sufficient clues might be available for the careful reader to make an educated guess at the meaning. So sometimes you're going to have a lot of clues available for you to be able to make an educated guess at what actually is meant in the reading. Example, she told a friend, "I'm through with blind dates forever." What a dull evening. It was bored every minute. The conversation was absolutely vapid. She told her friends, "I'm through with blind date forever." What a dull evening. I was bored every minute. The conversation was absolutely vapid. Now, so if you looking at context clues, the information provided here, if we try to put the pieces together, we can actually guess the meaning of vapid. We can do an educated guess. So vapid here means uninteresting. If you put all the pieces together, you realize that vapid means uninteresting. So we need that. Okay, let's also look at cause and effect clues. Cause and effect clue. The author explains the reason for or the result of the word. Okay, so the author will tell you that because of this, that is what that is why something else happened. All right. Words like because, since, therefore, thus, so, etc. may signal context clues. So these are all cause and effect words. So they tell you about why something else happened. So these are things you might look out for when you're looking at cause and effect clues. Context clues are very important to learn, and they really help a lot. Not only with reading comprehension, it can help with a summary. It can also help with our understanding of things a lot in a lot of other areas. So we need to know them. We are able to tell the meaning of words as well. So we're looking at examples here. She wanted to impress all her dinner guests with the food she served, so she carefully studied the necessary culinary art. She wanted to impress all her dinner guests with the food she served, so she carefully studied the necessary culinary arts. So we're asking ourselves, what does culinary art mean? And we can see that we are provided with a reason. So because she wanted to do something, she did something. And what do we have there? To impress all her dinner guests. Dinner, we know, is food. You're going to eat. So if she went learning an art, it's going to be an art about food. So culinary means food preparation. Can you see that? So it's basic, and we can easily tell the meaning of the word here. So basically, we talk about context clues today. There are a lot other things that we can talk about, but we're ending it here, and we would like to make sure that please, each and every one of us should go back and revise this whole information so that we understand better and are able to do well in them when we find summary work before us, and also we find reading comprehension passages that we have to work on. Thank you.